The message came in at 9:30 on a Tuesday night. We no longer trust you. Do not contact us until this is resolved. No context. No explanation. Just that. I stared at my phone for maybe 10 seconds. Then I typed one word back. Understood. I hit send and set the phone face down on my desk. Did they really think there would be no consequences? Did they forget who taught me to keep records in the first place? My father used to say, memory is cheap. Paper is power. I had 3 years of receipts. Bank logs, email threads, access records, timestamps. They had none. And they were about to learn the difference between trust and proof. By the way, where are you watching from? Drop your time zone below. And if you're the type who documents everything, hit that like button. You'll understand why in a minute. They thought silence would make me fold. They were wrong. I need to rewind a little so this makes sense. I grew up in what looked like a stable family. 2 parents, 2 kids. Decent house. No scandals. But inside? Different story. My younger sibling, let's call them Alex, was always the golden child. Charismatic, funny. Never met a rule they couldn't charm their way around. I was the quiet one. The responsible one. The one who got a job at 15 because I wanted my own money. Alex got an allowance until they were 23. I worked 3 part-time jobs to get through college. Alex partied their way through on family money and barely graduated. Nobody said it out loud, but I knew. I was the backup plan. Alex was the star. When I turned 18, my parents set up a family trust. Both our names were on the access list, but I never touched it. I didn't want to owe them anything. Instead, I built a consulting business. Small at first, then steady. And I kept records. Every email, every expense, every transfer. My mentor in college was a CPA who'd survived a nasty divorce. She taught me one thing. In any dispute, the person with documentation wins. So I saved everything. Cloud backups, timestamps, read receipts. In our family, memory was flexible. I made mine permanent. I thought keeping my distance would be enough. Then that message lit up my screen. The next morning, my mother called. We need to meet. Today, it's not optional. 2 hours later, I was sitting in their living room. My father on one side, my mother on the other. Alex on the couch across from me, arms folded. Nobody offered me coffee. My father slid a folder across the table. We've been reviewing the family trust account. I nodded. I hadn't looked at that account in years, but I stayed quiet. There are withdrawals we can't explain. $87,000 over the last 18 months. I blinked. Your name is on the access list, my mother added. Her voice was cold. The statements don't lie. I asked to see them. My father pulled the folder back. We don't owe you explanations. You owe us answers. Alex leaned forward. I saw the transfers, Mom. It's all right there. I looked at Alex. They wouldn't meet my eyes. My mother's voice shook. We gave you opportunity, education, support, and you stole from us. I felt my chest tighten, but I kept my face blank. I haven't accessed that account since I turned 21. Then how do you explain the missing money? My father snapped. I didn't answer. He stood up. You have 72 hours to return the full amount. If you don't, we're going to the police. I stood too. Understood. And I left. The next 48 hours were brutal. I was removed from the family group chat. Blocked on social media. My mother's sister, my aunt, called and left a voicemail. I never thought you'd do this to your own parents. I'm ashamed of you. She hung up before I could respond. Then the letter arrived. Heavy paper. Law firm letterhead. Notice of intent to pursue civil and criminal remedies for misappropriation of trust funds. It was real. They were actually doing this. My business partner saw me reading it. Everything okay? He asked carefully. Family stuff, I said. Financial family stuff? I didn't answer. But I saw the look on his face. That night, I sat alone in my apartment. I scrolled through old family photos, but they were all set to private now. I couldn't see them anymore. For one night, just one, I let myself believe I'd lost. That maybe no one would believe me, that their narrative would win, but then I remembered something my mentor told me. Emotion fades, evidence doesn't. I didn't sleep that night. I built a timeline instead, and I pulled every file I had. I logged into my secure cloud account and pulled the trust records I'd saved years ago. Just in case. The first document I opened was the account access log. Every login, every timestamp, every IP address. I scrolled through 3 years of data. My name appeared exactly 0 times. Not once. But Alex's name? 147 logins, including 12 logins during the exact windows when the money disappeared. I cross-referenced the dates with the withdrawal schedule from the lawyer's letter. Perfect match. I saved the file as a PDF. I labeled it clearly, and I sent it to my parents' attorney with a 1-line email. Please review the attached access log. Thank you. Professional, calm, undeniable. 2 hours later, the lawyer replied, "We'll need to verify these records with the bank." I wrote back immediately, "Feel free. The bank keeps identical records. I'll authorize release." I copied my parents on the email. Then I waited. Because here's the thing about numbers. They don't have feelings. They don't pick sides. They just tell the truth. And the truth was that I had never touched that account. Not even once. But that was just the opening move. I had more. I thought the access log would end it. I was wrong. My father left a voicemail the next day. "I don't care what your fake documents say. We know what happened. You're not getting away with this." Fake documents. He called bank records fake. Then Alex went on the offensive. They posted something vague on social media. Sometimes the people you trust most turn out to be the best liars. Heartbroken. #family first. Within hours, cousins were commenting. Supportive emojis. "So sorry you're going through this." Nobody called me. Then my mother retained a second attorney. Not for the trust issue, for defamation. The letter was short. "Cease and desist all defamatory communications regarding Alex or face legal action for slander and reputational harm." I read it twice. I hadn't said a word to anyone outside my business partner. But now I was being threatened for defending myself. And it got worse. My largest client, a firm I'd worked with for 2 years, sent a polite email. "We need to pause the contract renewal while we conduct a routine financial review." Routine. Right, someone had whispered in their ear. My business partner pulled me aside. "Should we be worried about audits?" I looked him in the eye. "No, but I need you to trust me for 1 more week." He nodded slowly. I had 1 chance left to make this right, and I wasn't going to waste it. I filed a formal request with the trust bank under my rights as an account holder. It took 4 business days. When the envelope arrived, I opened it alone. Inside was a certified transfer report. Every withdrawal, every authorization, every IP address and timestamp, all of them tied to Alex. But there was something else. 2 of the transfers had been authorized by email. An email that looked like mine, except it wasn't. My real email ended in .com. The fake one ended in .co. 1 letter off. The account had been created 2 days before the first disputed withdrawal. I ran the metadata through a basic lookup tool. The IP address matched Alex's home network. The email headers showed the account was registered to a burner address, but the recovery phone number? Same area code as Alex's cell. I sat back and stared at the screen. Forgery, identity fraud, documented and timestamped. I compiled everything into 1 file. Access logs, certified bank records, email forensics, all of it. Then I sent it to both attorneys, my parents and Alex. The subject line was 2 words. Final documentation. I didn't add a message. I didn't need to. The evidence spoke for itself. Now they had a choice. Face the truth or double down on the lie. I needed to understand why. Why would Alex do this? Why would they risk everything? I hired a skip trace consultant for 1 hour, a professional who finds financial trails. The report came back in 30 minutes. Alex had $140,000 in personal debt, a failed startup, a defaulted car lease, 2 maxed-out credit cards, a personal loan from a peer-to-peer lender, all of it delinquent. I cross-referenced the dates. The first trust withdrawal happened 3 days after Alex's startup LLC was filed. The second withdrawal came 1 week after the car lease default notice. The pattern was perfect. Alex hadn't been stealing out of malice. They'd been sinking, and instead of asking for help, they took the money and hoped no one would notice. But when my parents started asking questions, Alex panicked, and I was the easy target, the responsible one, the one who'd already pulled away, the one no one would defend. I sat with that for a while. Part of me felt sorry for them. The other part remembered the last 3 weeks. The lawyer letters, the public shaming, the blocked calls, the career I'd almost lost. Sorry wasn't enough. Now I knew exactly what to do. I made 3 calls. The first was to a trust and estate attorney. I sent her everything. She called me back in an hour. You have everything we need. This is airtight. The second call was to a forensic accountant. He specialized in family disputes. When I showed him the forged email evidence, he didn't even hesitate. I'll do the audit pro bono. This is exactly the kind of case that needs to be exposed. The third call was to my parents' attorney. I'd like to request a formal mediation. All parties present. I'll bring independent representation and a third-party auditor. He tried to argue. I didn't let him. You can agree to mediation, or I can file a counterclaim for defamation, identity theft, and malicious prosecution. Your choice. He agreed. We scheduled it for the following Monday. I didn't tell my parents what was coming. I didn't warn Alex, I just prepared. My attorney drafted 3 documents. A motion for an independent trust audit, a cease and desist for identity fraud, a defamation counterclaim template ready to file. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't hurt. I was done. And on Monday, they were going to see exactly what 3 years of documentation looked like. In a room where emotion didn't matter. Only evidence. The mediation room was sterile. White walls, a long table, 6 chairs. My parents sat on one side with their attorney. Alex beside them, staring at the table. I sat across from them with my attorney and the forensic accountant. Nobody shook hands. My attorney opened her laptop and connected it to the projector on the wall. Let's begin with Exhibit A, the account access log. The screen filled with data. 3 years, 147 logins, all under Alex's credentials. 0 under mine. My mother's face went pale. Exhibit B certified bank transfer records. The withdrawals appeared. Each one time-stamped. Each one matched to Alex's IP address. My father leaned forward, squinting at the screen. Exhibit C email forensics. The side-by-side comparison. My real email. The forged one. The metadata showing Alex's home network. The recovery phone with Alex's area code. My mother turned to Alex. What is this? Alex didn't answer. My attorney continued. Exhibit D financial background report. The debt summary filled the screen. $140,000. 4 delinquent accounts. My father's voice was barely a whisper. Oh my God. The forensic accountant spoke for the first time. Based on the evidence, there is 0 indication that your daughter accessed or withdrew any funds. The pattern match confirms a single actor. Alex. The room went silent. Alex's voice cracked. I was going to pay it back. I just needed time. I didn't know what else to do. My mother started crying. My father just stared. Their attorney cleared his throat. In light of this evidence, we recommend a settlement agreement to avoid criminal fraud charges. My attorney slid a document across the table. Repayment plan. $87,000 over 48 months. Alex removed from all trust access. A written exoneration letter for me, copied to all family and professional contacts. My father signed it. My mother signed it. Alex signed it. I stood up. I took my copies, and I walked out. I didn't wait for an apology. I didn't need one. 3 days later, I got an email notification. Alex had updated their LinkedIn. The title read, Customer Service Associate at a Regional Call Center. A humbling pivot from startup founder. They were making payments. $500 a month. It would take years, but the plan was in motion. A week after that, a letter arrived at my apartment. My parents' handwriting on the envelope. Inside was a single page. "We failed you. We are deeply sorry. We were wrong, and we hope one day you can forgive us." I read it twice. Then I wrote back. "I accept your apology. I need space. Let's keep contact to quarterly emails and respect that boundary." I didn't go to the next family gathering. I didn't unblock them on social media. I set the boundary I needed. My business partner got a copy of the exoneration letter. He didn't say much, just nodded and renewed my responsibilities. The client that paused my contract, they came back a week later. We completed our review. Everything checks out. Let's move forward. I signed the renewal. My extended family heard the full story eventually. A few reached out to apologize. I kept my responses short and polite. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to prove anything anymore. Instead, I redirected that energy. I launched a small financial literacy fund. I called it the Receipt Project. Workshops for young adults. How to document. How to protect yourself. How to build boundaries before you need them. I started going to therapy too. Not because I was broken, but because I wanted to process it the right way. My therapist said something I won't forget. You didn't need their validation. You had your own integrity. That landed. Because here's what I learned. Trust isn't given because someone shares your blood. It's built on consistency, on honesty, on proof. And boundaries aren't walls. They're the foundation for any relationship worth keeping. I still keep records. I still save emails. I still document everything. Not because I'm paranoid, but because I respect myself enough to protect my truth. So here's my question for you. Have you ever had to set a hard boundary with family? What happened? Drop your story in the comments below. I read everyone, and if you believe that documentation beats drama every time, hit that subscribe button. Because the truth doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be written down. One last thing. This story is a fictionalized dramatization for entertainment purposes. It is not legal or financial advice. If you're facing something similar, consult a licensed professional in your area. Thanks for watching. And remember, boundaries aren't walls. They're foundations.